American Majority.
All right, it's time for another 2020 webcast from American Majority. In the last two webcasts, actually, we talked about social capitalism, why it was important to own your brand online, own your image online. And in this webcast, and from this webcast forward, we're really going to start talking about tactics, drilling down into a lot of the how-to. So it should be a lot of fun. And if you remember last time, we stopped on this slide right here, or this image. And from this point, we're going to talk about setting up your WordPress blog, or setting up your blog rather, and your website. And then some ways that you can drive content, generate content. So, just like last session, I want to put this in front of your face again. It's Uda Domains, a really great friend that we know. His name is Lenny Jarrett. He'll set it all up for you. If you don't have a domain name, if you don't know how to build a website, how to put a blog on there, we can do all that for you. I can definitely answer any of those questions if you shoot me an email at austin@americanmajority.org. However, this gentleman does it all for a living. He works with us. We actually have him do a lot of our work. He's a great guy. We don't get anything out of it, but we know we can trust him, and we know he has an excellent product. So if you want the easiest possible solution, send him an email. Tell him Austin sent you. So WordPress. What is WordPress? What makes it so great? WordPress is a blogging platform, and essentially what makes it fantastic is that it's open, it's free, and that anybody can kind of collaborate on it. Of course, the bells and whistles, I think, but most importantly, if you notice the bottom there, it's used by New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, American Majority, Anderson Cooper, Fox News. So, I mean, the platform is so robust that even the big boys are using it. So, definitely check it out. It's free, and we highly recommend it. All right, guys. So this is essentially once you get this WordPress set up on your domain, right? Your www.url.com, whatever that domain is. Once you have WordPress set up on it, you'll be able to log into an administrative panel. Looks just like this. It'll be your domain. Ours is americanmajority.org/WordPress WP -admin, and that's gonna be the same for everybody. So from that login, you'll be able to see this admin panel. And what makes WordPress so great and what makes this such a great system is that it's so clean and it's so easy to use. If you look over here to the left, you'll be able to see that from a simple drop-down menu, you can quickly add a new post. Under media, you can add new images, new videos, links, of course. Pages are the pages of your website that you can easily edit. And then, of course, you can look at all comments, and you can moderate those comments, respond to those comments. So some really great stuff here. Very, very easy to use. In a glance, right there in the middle, you can see the comments that have come in. Comments have been approved, any spam, that kind of thing. What I really like about it is we have tons of people at American Majority who have access to this at varying levels. You can set levels for administrator all the way down to contributor. A contributor is someone who can log in and write for your blog or your website, but they can't post. So what that does is it really allows us to crowdsource or to use a lot of different talents out there who maybe don't have the time, or we don't necessarily want to give them the ability to have full reign of the site. They can come in, easily contribute, and then at our leisure we can come in, edit the information, and post a forum. So with that, you can also look at recent comments, which is really great because just as I'm sure we've all experienced, the internet is prone to spam if you're not careful. So you can come in here and moderate and see which comments are spam, which ones are not, approve, unapproved, spam, trash, that kind of thing. Incoming links. Now this is a really cool one. So and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but we touched on it briefly in the very first webcast. The whole linking system and how Google rates links that are linking to you as positives. When you link out to somebody else, that's a positive vote for that website. So what this really helps us do is it manages those incoming links. We get a chance to see who's sending links to us, who's linking to us. If they're big sites, and we're going to get a lot of love out of it, and Google's going to see that, and it's going to push us up in the Google search returns because of it. We definitely want to cultivate that relationship by either sending them an email, reaching out to them, and conversely, if there's a negative blog or a negative website that's linking to us, we'll be able to see this immediately and respond accordingly. So I want to show you and I want to reiterate how extremely easy it is to create a post in WordPress and why it's such a simple platform and why we highly recommend it every time we do a training. One side note though, this is actually what our backends, this is our actual backend of the website. but it's on an iPad. So yours is going to look a little bit different in your browser on the computer. So like we said earlier, from that post menu on the left, you just drop down, you click add new. Once you do that, you'll see this screen. It makes it very, very simple. All you really need to take a look at is new post right there. It's the post title. You can go down, you can put in content, you can do it. It looks just like Microsoft Word. You can indent to the left, you can center it, bold it, italicize. You can even click over here and there's an HTML section. So if you know a little bit about code, you can go in there and do that. Over here is the where you can add pictures, you can add video. So it's very, very simple, very, very easy to use. There's even a spell check for those of you who may get a little sloppy. Once you do that, and again, there's multiple levels here. The system can be as complicated or as efficient as you want it to be. For now, we're just going to show you how easy and simple it is to create a blog post. Once you've done that, once you put your content in there, you just come up here and you click the big blue publish button, and it's online for everybody to see. It's that simple. There's actually a very low barrier to entry here. Again, we did oversimplify here, but if you shoot us an email at any point, we'll be able to walk you through some of the more complex issues in terms of categories, tags, how to manage the information, how to make sure that it's optimized for search engines. So, I know you're all dying to know, what does the final product look like? So you saw what the back end of the website looks like. This is what the front end looks like if you've ever been to AmericanMajority.org. So, we think it's beautiful. I think there's a lot of things you can do with it. Of course, you can tailor this to be anything you want it to be. And you can see right down here, once we've put the information in, there's one of the posts that the President, Ned Ryan, has posted up. And there it is for everyone to see. So it's extremely simple, and it's a great way for your organization, especially smaller organizations and campaigns, to create content on a regular basis that keeps people coming back to your website. It creates that sticky factor that we're all looking for. So maybe WordPress is not quite right for you. Maybe it's a little bit too much for what your purposes are. That's fantastic. That's fine. We have some other options that'll help you meet your goals. One of which is Tumblr. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's tumblr.com. And then our personal favorite is Posterous, or Posterous. It's posterous.com. And essentially what this does is it creates, if you remember the analogy that I made last session about buying a piece of land and then putting a house on it, what they did is they bought a ton of land, and they'll let you put a house on their piece of land. So they do manage the blog, they do manage the content, but it's a for-profit company. So just like Facebook, just like Twitter. So what's really interesting about this system, however, is that we know conservatives love to forward emails. I get emails in my inbox all the time, some stupid, some good. So now imagine if we could take some of the great content that we get and repost it for everyone to see. And that's essentially what this allows you to do. So how it works is, once you set up your account with them, it'll be something like AmericanMajority.posterous.com, and then from that point on, they will give you an email, and that email will be your kind of link to the website. So you don't actually have to go in and log into the back end like we saw with WordPress. What you can do is, when you get an email that maybe a cousin forwarded, a friend forwarded you, your wife, husband forwarded you, you can copy and paste some of the best content, put it into a separate email, and mail it to the email that they had given you, they provided you. And as soon as they receive it, it'll be posted up on your website. If you have pictures, they can go to a photo sharing site if you've set that up. If they have videos, they can go to YouTube. So they make it extremely simple, very, very easy. The barrier to entry here is even lower than in WordPress to get content consistently up. What I've seen campaigns do is they've maybe set up an account, and all it was pictures. It was pictures of the candidate as they made their campaign rounds the state. As they made campaign stops around the state. So a really cool idea, something you should look at. It's free as well, and I won't get into all of the many things you can do with it, but it's pretty robust, and it's definitely a lot of fun. So let's say you have a blog, a website up. Now you got to figure out, okay, listen, what do I need to do in terms of content? How do I keep things fresh? How do I know what's going on? How do I, venture into this online space? One of the great things that you can use is Google Alerts. It's google.com/alerts. And essentially what this does is, if you look over here on the right, this box, it has a search term section. It has a type how often, email length, and your email address. So, of course, you put in your email address, whatever email that is, the email length, how long do you want it to be? In all honesty, the longer the better. How often? You can do breaking, you can do once a day, depending on the content, and you'll understand in a minute. We normally do breaking here. The whole point is to get the information as fresh as possible. Always choose comprehensive for type. And then in search terms, what you'll do is essentially whatever term, whatever topic, whatever issue, whatever candidate, whatever politician, whatever it is that you want to know more about, that you want to stay abreast of, you type it into the search terms box, and Google will constantly index or scan the internet. And when it comes across, let's say, Ned Ryan, and if we put that in quotes, whenever it comes across Ned and Ryan together, it'll send us an email um, with a link to wherever it's posted, whether it's in the title of a video, whether it's in a blog post, whether it's a website or a news article. So what this allows us to do is to keep abreast of what's going on in terms of people talking about American Majority's brand, Ned Ryan, other issues. But more importantly, if anything comes out negative, it allows us in real time to draft a press release, to comment publicly, to address it with the website owner. So really cool tool, really great for candidates who are looking to kind of manage their brand online a little bit better. Now, uh, similar to Google Alerts, but a company that allows you to go even deeper into the knowledge is Topicality. You see the URL, the domain there. And again, if there's an issue that you're interested in, maybe it's the Gulf oil spill, maybe it's economics, whatever it is, you can type in certain terms here and receive that information as it breaks or on a daily basis. And one of my biggest tips to people is, hey, listen, if something breaks, maybe with the AP, or if a story breaks with a major news outlet, it doesn't always mean that people who come to your website, your blog, are going to see or have seen that news. So if you're getting breaking alerts, consider taking the information, maybe applying it to your local community, your local website, blog, or just kind of rewording it to really put a personal spin on it, and then posting it up. Really easy way to keep things fresh, to keep things relevant and topical. So the next thing I always do when, in terms of training people, is I pull out a small flip camera. It's a small flip video device. Some of you may be familiar with it. You can go to theflip.com to learn more about it. But essentially, what it is small. You can get an HD camera, I think, for 120 bucks. It's a great tool, especially if you're an activist or a Tea Party member, to carry with you at all times. You simply push a red button. It'll start to record. You can record whatever you want. It has great audio, great video quality. Click the red button again. You've got it recorded. But the best part about it is it's very small, it's convenient, but it has a built-in USB. So you can actually take it directly to your computer, and using the software that comes with the small device, you can actually send that video directly from your computer to YouTube, to Facebook, to all these different places. And what makes this really cool is that, let's say you've set up um, a blog on one of the platforms we mentioned previously. You can go directly from a tea party or an event or whatever it is, plug the device into your computer and upload that video directly to your blog, to your Facebook. And so the idea of sharing information in real time is no more evident than if you have a flip cam and if you're using it properly. So Google Analytics, and this is something people often overlook. It can be a little overwhelming, but it's actually really convenient, and you can actually drill down and get to a very granular level in terms of who's coming to your website, why are they coming to your blog, who's coming to your campaign website, who gave, why'd they give. So go to google.com/analytics/analytics. It's all there, and if you need help getting it set up, we're not going to go into that today, but we can definitely help you do that. Again, it's austin@americanmajority.org. So let's imagine we clicked that large blue button up in the corner, and we'll show you what American Majority's Google Analytics looks like. All right, guys. So this is ours. This is exactly what it looks like. You can see at the top it shows you traffic levels. Um, a snapshot of traffic levels is a little bit low. Uh, in this instance, you can see site usage, how many people came to page views, how many visits you have. What's really cool, though, I want you to take a look at this pie graph. You can look at traffic sources, and this is really big for us. So you can click view the report right down here, this little blue button. Um, And what that will let you do is it'll let you see who's driving the most traffic. For us, it's often our Facebook page, or organic Google searches, things of that nature. So you can determine if your efforts on Facebook are working. You can determine if your efforts to maybe optimize your website, your blog for search engines is working. And you can see if there's maybe a story written about you in a large publication like Red State, USA Today, whatever it is. And it, usually and oftentimes, if there's a story that comes out, that'll be the largest driver of traffic for that period. So, really cool way to see where the traffic's coming from. And then after that, you can identify the visitors. You can identify, specifically locations where visitors are coming from, and we're talking physical location, whether it's state, city. And then you can also look at the content on your website that is being viewed most often. You can find areas that aren't being looked at and then kind of adjust accordingly, deciding if that content needs to be revamped or if it needs to be deleted. So, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you guys is comment, 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 and of course, share, share, share. And what do I mean by this? Well, if you have a blog, if you have a website, if you're part of a Tea Party group, if you're, listen, if you just have a Facebook page, whatever it is, we're talking first about owning your identity, whether it's as an individual, an organization, or a campaign. And then, of course, protecting your identity, especially if you're an organization or a campaign. And ways to do that is to ensure that you're getting information out there and that people are coming across it as much as possible. The old saying, "If you build it, they will come," does not apply to the digital space. It's more like if you continually link, one day they will stumble upon it, and that's really how this works. Is if you're constantly sharing and linking back and forth, users will stumble upon it, whether they know about you or not. And that's really what we want to do. Is we want to capitalize on necessarily, the web surfing, capitalize on related content, and we want to ensure that we're the ones putting information up on a regular basis, fresh content about ourselves, our organization, our campaign. So I've listed some here: New York Times, Washington Post, Politico. These are all great places to go to leave comments, to be part of the community, but to more importantly, share links about your website, your blog. For instance, the Washington Post comes out with an article about the administration that maybe you disagree with. Maybe you've written a counter argument, or maybe you have different information on your website, your blog. Well, why not go to the Post, write a couple sentences, and then leave a link back to your website? I guarantee it's going to be a large driver of traffic. So these are all open communities, and you should definitely take part, but also gain something by leaving information, leaving kind of this breadcrumb trail back to your website. So maybe you're looking for something a little bit less technical, and maybe you want something to get your word out there. We definitely have that available, and here it is. I know we've all come across a wiki at some point. We've all heard of wikis. Wikipedia, of course, being the largest. We know wiki is just essentially the Hawaiian word for quick, and the reason that kind of applies is that a wiki is essentially, for lack of a better term, an editable website, right? And so what that means is that everybody can come to this website and edit the information. And that's really what wikis kind of offer us today is a collaboration source to really get the most news, the best news, in the quickest and easiest way possible. So Wikipedia, I won't go into it's kind of all the statistics, but it's gigantic, millions and millions and millions of pages, millions and millions, millions, millions of articles. Um, Again, it's wikis are free to edit. Anybody can edit them. We have a great tutorial at americanmajority.org/resources that'll show you step by step in video how to edit a wiki. How to get started. So there's really no excuse for not putting your campaign, um, not putting your organization on there. But I will say this: Wikipedia does have some very liberal-leaning editors, and if there's anything that's politically biased, of course, take it with a grain of salt. That most likely it will be deleted or altered. All right, so we covered very quickly, very briefly, guys. We only have 20 minutes each session. Well, we covered a lot. We covered blogs, kind of the best places to set up your online identity. Um, and maybe you're looking for something a little bit more simple. We're going to talk about some really cool ways that you can get your information out there, that you can have maybe an identity online. You can kind of use someone else's product to benefit your organization, your campaign. And specifically what I'm talking about is wikis, of course. We're not going to get into it until next session. But wikis are a phenomenal way to get your brand out there, to protect your identity, and to use the power of essentially the internet and this ability to crowdsource knowledge to really put your information, your brand, front and center. And we'll talk about that next time, guys. Thanks.